welcome to Rewind Whenever. I'm Wendy.
Kelly.
And I'm Lori.
We are talking about the secret lives of Mormon wives. Episode 2 is called The Book of Belongings. And we start with 11 months after Taylor's arrest. And she says it was the worst night of her life when she was charged with aggravated assault. And she was sentenced to 3 years of probation. And
A long time.
it is a long time. And her and Dakota never broke up at this point. They have stayed in the relationship. What I think is interesting is that it was 11 months after the arrest. So if she only got 3 years probation, why did they take 11 months to start filming again?
Well, she did say that she's now at the point where she can check in every 6 months. So maybe before that, she was checking in every week, and maybe she wasn't allowed to film before that.
That could be. Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
And then we see Mayci, Mikayla, and Whitney. They go out for tea, and they're talking about Taylor being pregnant again. And she's isolated herself from her friends, and she thinks that, they say that she thinks with her vagina, not her heart.
Whitney's clearly trying to ice Taylor out.
Yeah, I don't think that's nice. Listen, I don't like Whitney. I don't like the way she treats people. I really don't.
Didn't Taylor start this with 2 other girls who were not on the show?
Taylor did start it. It was
Okay.
definitely Taylor who was starting
So
it.
who the hell are you, Whitney, to come in here and try to take it over?
Yeah. And they're talking about how they want to exclude her from MomTok. And Whitney thinks they need to protect their livelihood, that Taylor's going to jeopardize that in some way. But like you
But
said,
your secretly gay husband isn't?
yeah. Well, that still is not confirmed.
It's confirmed. I'm confirming it right here and now.
Kelly's confirming it. So just in case
You heard it
anyone
here
was
first,
wondering
folks.
and wanted to know, yeah, she's got the 411 on that. She knows.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Leanne. She's shopping with Taylor. Leanne's Taylor's mom, and they're going shopping for her for the baby. But Taylor doesn't really want to buy anything because she wants to just wait and see what she gets at her baby shower. And that's when she tells her mom about the probation. You know, she doesn't have to check in as often as she did. And she tells her mom that Dakota's talking about marriage, but she's not really there just yet. She's not really sure that she wants to get married. And she doesn't know what to do since the arrest because she lost a lot of her friends. And I guess they weren't there for her because of the arrest, but I think her real friends are still going to be there for her.
You would
And
hope so.
Yes, I would. So then we see the girls, they're at Macy's house and they're making their TikToks and they're saying that they need to keep it going because they're the breadwinners in the family and they're the ones that are supporting the family. And they start talking about different brand deals that they have. And I was surprised how much they're getting for these brand deals. I didn't realize it was that much money for a post.
No joke.
They're saying they're the
joke.
breadwinners.
Yeah, it's big money. It's big money. And they're talking about like what's the weirdest brand deal you were offered, and one was for diapers. And then Whitney is telling them about this deal she has been offered about selling vibrators. And she's going to get $20,000 for it. And she just has to take a picture with it. And it's, you know, not like she's demonstrating it.
Is she a practicing Mormon, though?
Yes.
Whitney, yes, Whitney is
So
a practicing Mormon.
Can't be good, right?
No.
Well,
But I have a question. So I want this out there to you both. If somebody offered you $20,000, would you do a dildo commercial?
well, it's not a commercial. It's a picture holding
I'm
it.
saying,
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
You would? I wouldn't.
I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't right now as a CCD teacher. I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
I just wouldn't. It's just
I couldn't.
not my gig.
You know
It
what?
just-
I think about it. I probably wouldn't because my boys would be like mortified. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? No.
Yeah, I just
20,000 is not enough.
Uh-uh.
No, I wouldn't do it either.
20,000 is not enough. But
No,
I,
50.
honestly, I wouldn't.
Okay.
But I wouldn't do it for that reason. I am a CCD teacher, and I think I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't be able to do it after that.
I mean, if you think about it, why though? I mean, it's a
Because
vibrator.
that's- yeah, but it's not that masturbation's not looked on.
Favorably?
You're not supposed to do that.
Is that in the Bible?
I don't know if it's in the Bible, but it's definitely in the what do I have? The it's definitely not You're not supposed
It's
to.
not in the.
I mean,
it's
is
not in the
that-
handbook for PCD.
But wait a second.
I'll go get the book I have, and I'm
No,
pretty sure
wait.
it says it right
I
in
just want to break this down. So, Lori, what is going on? It's making all this noise.
I don't know. I'm just sitting here. I don't know what to say.
Oh, and one more thing before I forget.
Okay.
When we talked about Salt Lake City and Mormon wives, the episode we did when it was the Salt Lake City one, Lori wasn't on it yet. In the Catholic religion, it is God first, then your spouse, then your children. That is the
Interesting.
lineup that we are supposed to be following.
Okay. So my question is, I want to break this down. So in the Book of Mormon or the Bible or Christianity, so I know sex before marriage is frowned upon, right?
Mhm.
That's not allowed. And masturbation is not allowed either?
I have a book. I could
It's
go get it.
definitely frowned upon. It is definitely frowned upon.
Yes.
You're not allowed to have pleasure.
Well,
I guess not self-inflicted.
No,
Well-
it should be.
Well, you're not
that-
allowed to have it with others either unless you're married. You're not allowed to have pleasure unless you're married, or you're not even allowed to have pleasure when you're married. It's only for procreation. Is that what it is?
No.
That's it.
Is that it?
Yes. Yeah, that's what sex is for. Okay.
This is interesting to me.
The Bible doesn't explicitly mention masturbation, but it does offer advice on how to live a virtuous and chaste life. Some Christians believe that God asks people to wait on him and trust him, and that masturbation is a way to demonstrate this trust. They may also believe that the pleasures of this life will be laughable compared to the joys of meeting Jesus in eternity.
Which really doesn't give an answer either way.
No, it doesn't. I don't know. Okay, let's move on. I'm
Okay.
tired of
Well-
talking about this.
But I do want to bring this up because, when the show first starts, there's a bunch of hashtags. Did you guys ever notice that? When
No.
they do the credits for the show when it first starts, there's a bunch of hashtags that run through the screen. And one of those is soaking. And I was wondering if you ladies have heard of this in regards to Mormon.
No.
Yes, I know all about soaking and
No,
surfing.
What's soaking?
Oh,
And
you don't
there's-
know about soaking?
There's derfing, there's gazing, and
Yes.
there's docking.
Yes.
Okay, would you like me to tell you what they are?
Yes. I know
Okay,
all
Lori,
about
can
them.
you tell me what these are?
I can tell you.
Go ahead, Laura. It's
And
all you.
Soaking
Go
I
ahead.
knew of before this show because my daughter told me about it. Soaking is, now I'm going to read this because I had my daughter look these up and write this information down for us. So, per her writing, soaking is putting a schlong in and someone jumps on the bed. So,
No,
you
that's surfing. No, that's surfing. Soaking is you put it in and you don't move it. Surfing is you put it in, you don't move it, but someone jumps on the bed so that it moves.
so that it moves. So you're not, that's like their, how
What's
to get
the
around.
point of this?
It's just,
I mean,
their
these
weird-
are their workarounds.
Workarounds for what, though? If
Not
it
having
goes
sex.
in, that's sex.
No, not in their
Nope,
not in their
not in their
they're-
mind.
these are their workarounds.
So
Everyone has a
uh,
workaround. You know how we do our caveats? This is
Yeah.
their
Yes.
caveat.
I miss our caveats. We need to bring back the would you rathers.
These are their caveats. These are their workarounds.
docking
Hysterical.
is just putting the penis in, no movement. Gazing is members of the opposite sex gather and stare at each other, and then they turn the lights off, they get nude, and they turn the lights on really quick and look at each other and then turn the lights off again.
Yeah.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Emotional Support Water Bottle. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. We're two besties who don't leave the house without their water bottles.
Every week, we're bringing you conversations about pop culture news, relatable real-life topics, and our random thoughts about the world today.
We cover things like Bravo TV recaps, breaking celebrity scandals, and Hollywood updates, and dig deeper on topics relating to navigating our 30s, dating and relationships, and keeping our work, social lives balanced.
So grab your water bottles and look out for new episodes every Friday.
I never noticed these hashtags, but I will.
No, they
now.
want you to
they
notice them.
explained it. I heard them talk about it. They talked about it on a couple different podcasts I heard them on. They were on Sheena's podcast. They were on Heather McDonald's podcast. Like, they talked about these terms on these podcasts, and they explained them.
I love Kelly's
Interesting.
face.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. There's really
Nothing
not
to
that much to say at this
Not
point.
much to say.
All right. So then after that, after the shopping for the baby stuff that she's not interested in getting because she's going to get it at her shower, the girls are at Macy's. Oh, wait, I told you that. So they're talking about should she do the vibrator commercial, right? And they have mixed feelings on it. You know, they all give their opinion. Some say yes, some say it's not enough money, and others say there's no way I would do it. So then Mayci and Jenn say that they would not ever promote a sex brand. Layla admits she has never had an orgasm at this point.
Or Layla.
Now, she's married and divorced with children and has never had an orgasm. Layla is 22. She got married when she was 19. She was married for 3 years, and now she's divorced. She has 2 kids. She grew up in Utah, and all of her friends are Mormon. At 16, she decided to get baptized in the church. Being Black in the church, you stick out like a sore thumb, she said. So she, you know, her friends were Mormon. She wanted to belong, and, you know, that's what she did.
Yeah.
A little bit about Jenn Affleck, who is 24 and married to Zach. And they say at this time he's the second cousin to Ben Affleck, but we all know that that is not true. There's no validity to that.
There's
And,
not?
No.
There's not.
And that no, there's none.
They're
And
still calling her Jenn Affleck on the show?
they are. Well, that is still her name. I mean, that's
Still
his
her
name.
I know, but I don't think there's a necessity for the last name to be shown every time she's on our screen anymore since they're not related.
They're not.
No,
Her
they're
last
not.
name means absolutely nothing. It could be Smith for all we care right now.
Well, I would hope for season 2 we stop seeing her last name.
Let's fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
Well, I just want to say this real quick. I just think it's kind of weird. Like, your husband has like a porn addiction, and now you want to like hook vibrators. Like, isn't it kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
To me,
because
that
they're
was just
both
like-
full of shit.
God.
It's a weird arranged marriage. They're probably not having sex with each other than to have the kids that they have. They're probably not having sex with each other. So she's probably like, yes, let me do this post so I can get my hands on a vibrator and not get caught like ordering one for myself. And he's like, yeah, get the vibrator because I'm going to go watch male porn.
Okay.
Maybe.
That's his workaround.
Right.
Yeah, that's his workaround.
So then we see Taylor's parents go over to her house, and Taylor tells them that Dakota is moving in today and that she's not really interested in getting married. And her mom and dad are not happy about this. And then he shows up with his pickup truck and a box. And okay, here he is ready to move in. Like,
yeah.
she gave them no notice, and he shows up with his one box.
Parents were not happy.
No, they weren't. Like, listen, you've already gotten divorced now, and basically they're saying, like, you're already pregnant with another man, and you're not going to get married. Like, basically, they're saying, like, how many baby daddies you're going to have, without saying that.
Right. But do you feel like they were like a little bit pushing her? Like, aren't you going to get married? Aren't you going to get married? Like, again, back to that mentality of the Mormon church. Like, you need a man. You need a man.
Well, yeah, that's
like
how they feel.
Like we saw on Salt Lake City, if you
Right.
don't have that, you are not going to get into heaven. So
Right.
it's a goal.
Right. It's more important than your children. You need to have a man. Yeah, not good. I like it when Dakota walks in and Taylor's dad says, you knocked up my daughter. I was like, oh, that's straight to the point.
He's her stepdad, isn't he?
I think he is her stepdad.
But still.
Yeah. You knocked up my daughter, and, like, what's your plan? And he wants to
Okay.
get married, and she doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And Leanne also says, like, listen, I really would like you to consider marriage, you know? Like, she's also encouraging Taylor to go back to church because at this point, she's not going to church.
Right.
And I think that's yet another reason why she wants her to get married so that the church may accept her.
Well, yeah, because after the whole swinging thing,
Right.
she's got a lot of strikes against her.
She does. She certainly does. And then we see Taylor, she meets up with Mayci and she's saying that she's afraid to see everyone at the baby shower. And Macy's saying she feels like that Taylor takes all the accountability for Dakota. Like she's always making excuses for him.
Yeah, she doesn't like him, Mayci.
No, because she's seen how he treats her.
And she told her that she wanted to walk out 2 weeks before she said she was pregnant.
Right. Exactly. So this is her friend that she confides in, who she tells, you know, what's really going on. So of course Macy's going to feel a way about him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Taylor's going to try and make excuses for him because
she's going to defend him.
Right, because she's still on the fence and now she's pregnant. So she's kind of stuck. Then she does say that things have gotten much better. Taylor says that, you know, 2 weeks, things have gotten better. But how long is that going to last?
Right.
And then we see Whitney go over to her mom's house and her sister Lexi's there. And she wants to bring up the whole, I want to do the vibrator, you know, ad. And her mom and sister are like, no.
Yeah, that whole scene was interesting with her and her sister and her mother. Right?
It was. I mean, Whitney does say, like, you shouldn't feel shame in feeling pleasure, which is kind of what we were just talking about. Like, why are you not allowed to have pleasure? I mean, she's right. In that respect, I think she's right.
She is right. I think, and I don't feel this way personally, but I think that, you know, there's rules with religion because I guess it can be a slippery slope for somebody like with an addictive personality, with some, you know, personality trait where they can fall down a rabbit hole of becoming a sex addict or a cheater, or, you know, that's just what I don't believe that. I believe everyone deserves to feel pleasure, obviously. But I think that's why, you know, think about when these laws were written for these religions, Mormonism and, you know, Christianity. It's thousands and thousands of years ago where people, you know.
Yeah. But listen, I don't think she's wrong in what she's saying. Like, you shouldn't feel shame in feeling pleasure.
Right.
But then, you know, her mother says, you know, Whitney kind of calls out her mom. She's like, listen, you never even talked to me about sex. She's like, my wedding night was a horror show. And her mom makes the excuse, well, I had a baby at the time, so, like, I didn't have time to tell you.
Well, also, your husband's gay, so that could have had something to do with your wedding night being a disaster.
Well, he's not going to give it
Are
up.
you sure he is? Like, you were really going hard for this.
Kelly's not giving it up, man.
I'm not. I'm falling on the sword for this one. I'm falling on my sword for this one.
He's sticking to it.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm sticking to it.
All right. But again, she's blaming her mother. Listen, I don't think that's right either. You know, her mother did the best she could do. So your mom didn't teach you about sex and now you're going to sell vibrators? I mean, what? Like, where's the correlation?
Yeah, right.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Make it make sense.
Exactly. Make it make sense.
So then Taylor and Dakota, they're talking about the baby shower, and he asks how Mayci is and if she's still talking shit about him, because we know that Mayci doesn't like him because Taylor tells her all her deep, dark secrets. And, you know, Taylor says, listen, she's very protective of me. I confide in her. And she feels like that, you know, Taylor feels like she's screwed up, like with MomTok 2 times already. First with the swinging scandal and then with the arrest. And, you know, she doesn't want to lose this because this is her livelihood, right? This is
I
what's
felt like
paying the
Dakota
bills.
was way too invested in how Mayci felt about him, and it gave me like Louis Brooks vibes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna feel a certain way, and he's gonna let her know, and then it's gonna cause tension between her and her friend, and may eventually end the friendship, or he's gonna try at least.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I definitely can see that happening with him because that's his kind of personality. The next we see Layla and Whitney, they're hanging out with their children at the Himalayan salt room. Have you ever done a salt room?
I always wanted to.
No, but there's one right across the street from the salon.
Is there? I've done it. I've done it a couple times. So there's one right here in Brick?
Yes, it's right on Maniloking Road, right in the same storefront as Justin's Barbershop, right across the street from All Dolled Up. I want to try it.
Yes, we should do it. It's so good. It's
What-
so
what
good
is
for
the
your
benefit of it?
sinuses. It's so good for your sinuses.
I need
Ju-
that.
Yeah, it's really good. And it's just has healing properties to inhale it. Because that's basically what you're doing when you're sitting in this salt room. So we should listen. This is what I do. We should look for a group off because
Yeah,
I don't like to. And the time that I've done it twice or 3 times. I always had a Groupon, and the one place I went to was in Wall, and they did like reflexology in the Himalayan salt room. So they like massaged my feet in one of those zero gravity chairs. Yeah, so maybe we can look for that.
Yes, let's do
Right.
it.
We're doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna
I'll
do
look
it.
tomorrow. I think they brought over because they're new. They're newer. I think they brought some pamphlets over to the salon.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely would love to do that again because it's definitely, I could feel it immediately because my sinuses are always stuffed up.
Yeah.
So I definitely think we should do that. So Whitney is saying that she's not going to Taylor's baby shower when they're there talking. And Layla's like, well, like, don't you want to be friends with her? And she's basically like, no, I'm not going to go there.
Like
No.
almost that.
Yeah, I'm good. You know, she could do her. I'm
But she
good over
doesn't
here.
tell Taylor she's not going to the baby shower.
Right. She does not tell Taylor. And then we see what happens. So everyone shows up at the baby shower except for Whitney. And Taylor's like, where's Whitney? And Layla knows the truth. And she says, listen, she's not coming. So then Taylor runs over and tells her mom that Whitney's not coming. And then Taylor's mom, Leanne, picks up the phone and calls Whitney, which
Gangster.
that's like,
That's
come
not-
on.
That's
That's
not
gangster.
cool.
That's not
not
cool.
Thought it
That's
was
No,
great.
that's like high school.
I
that's
think
like
Rose Riley would have done the same fucking thing. Bammy would have been all over that shit.
You know what? I'm
So
not gonna
funny.
lie. My mother would have too. I gotta say, my mother would have too.
Except my mother would have been like, where the fuck are you?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah. What's your problem?
Do you
Yeah.
have a problem? Do we have a problem?
Mhm.
Listen, I think Whitney handled it well. She's like, listen, this is a conversation between her and Taylor. I'm not going to explain to you why I'm not there.
She did handle it well.
You know, so kudos for her on that. So the next episode is episode number 3, and that's called The Book of Saints and Sinners. And that's where we get to see the real divide. So there's 8 women, essentially. And I have it at some point here. I have a group of the saints and the sinners. So Mayci,
Taylor.
wait,
Macy's got to be with Taylor, no?
no, Taylor's a sinner. Macy's a saint.
Macy went on Whitney's side?
No, but we'll get there. We're not there yet. So then we
Okay.
see Mayci, Mikayla, and Whitney. They're hanging out for the first time since Taylor's shower. And Mikayla and Mayci think that Whitney wanted to be the center of attention. That's why she didn't go to the shower, which I 100% agree.
Yeah, it's the same reason Alexa sent the flowers to Shannon's
Exactly.
lunch and Teresa
Right.
sent the bottle of whiskey to the Gorgas.
Yes,
Here we go
exactly.
again.
Then we hear that Zach's family, his family, he graduated from college. He graduated from BYU, and Jenn is throwing him a graduation party, but it's at his family's house, which I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it's at his family's house. And everyone's going. He's going to be going off to medical school, and his family is not paying for it. So Jenn tells us a little bit about her, history. She didn't grow up with money, but Zach's family did. They're all doctors. And as a matter of fact, her mom is from Ecuador, and she doesn't really speak English very well. And she works at the same hospital that his father does, and she's a cleaning lady, and he's a surgeon. So that tells you exactly where she stands in this whole family. And honestly, I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her in this whole situation. She is the one who is supporting him right now, and she is the one who's paying for him to go to medical school because they don't want to take his family's money because there will be strings attached. So good for her. Good for her for being able to do that. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not really loving Zach, and I don't think she should be doing it for him.
How could you?
We'll get there. I mean, we're not really there yet. Yeah. So Whitney, Jenn, and Mayci are the most devout Mormons. So it's Whitney, Jenn, and Mayci. They don't drink. Taylor tries to talk to Whitney before she leaves. Whitney says, I don't want to talk to Taylor. So 3 of them
I saw
don't
that
drink at
part.
all. Yeah, 3 of them don't drink at all. And then we see Jessi and Jordan, and they're in the hot tub outside of the
Is that
party.
her husband, Jordan?
Yes.
Jessi?
Yes. And he's got the flask and they're drinking alcohol in the hot tub. And everyone is saying that's very disrespectful.
Well, I saw a thing that said Jessi and Mikayla are not Mormons. That they grew up as Mormons, but they are not Mormons. So that's why she's drinking in the hot tub.
They
She's
left
not
the
Mormon.
church.
Well, Jessi, I did hear on a podcast, she said that she's a non-practicing Mormon.
Okay. Right.
And that's fine. And she also
Yeah,
on
so
that same
makes sense.
right, on that same podcast, she kind of clarified what happened in this hot tub. So they, after this party, they were all going out to hang out. The ones that drink and party, they were all going out to hang out afterwards. They were just there for a short amount of time. And this was kind of like them pre-gaming, which is something that they do normally, but it didn't come off that way. And there was no disrespect meant. Like her and Jordan didn't mean to disrespect Zach's family, but that's just what they do.
Right. I mean, did they expect nobody to drink at all?
Well, they don't drink at all. That Zach's family
No.
does not drink.
Right,
and
but did they
Jenn
expect
doesn't drink.
nobody else to? Because it was their home?
Yeah, I
think
guess they
so.
do.
I guess they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like if you went to a kosher home, you can't show up with bacon,
Right.
Yeah.
No.
right?
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting, though, because then after this, right, we see Mikayla, Mayci, and Whitney and Jenn. They all go to the spa to get Botox. So Jenn and Whitney and Mayci, who are supposedly the Mormons, the stricter Mormons, can get Botox and get laughing gas because they get laughing gas before they get the Botox so they don't feel the needle. It's a needle. I mean, come on. So it's okay to do drugs and get cosmetic procedures, but you can't feel pleasure and you can't drink alcohol. Like, I feel like, and I don't like to criticize religion, but I feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy going on.
I feel like they're making it up as they go along. Like
Yeah.
obviously Botox wasn't a thing 50 years ago. So now they're like, okay, no, you could do that.
Yeah, but even the caffeine thing, like they can't drink coffee because of the caffeine, but they can drink soda with caffeine in it. They
Yes.
can't drink hot beverages with caffeine, but they can drink cold beverages with
Yeah, you're
caffeine.
right, because it's the whole something you can get addicted to, and
Right.
soda has caffeine just like coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it
so
doesn't make any
actually,
sense.
The soda is their kind of coffee. And do you know that
Right.
they have Mormon soda. So they like to take diet soda and they mix it with coffee cream. That's Mormon soda.
Well, we see that in the episode. They go to this place where they make there's soda shops.
So it's like a
all
nice
over.
coffee, but it's just soda.
Well, kind of, but they put all
Yeah.
these different flavors in it too. Yeah.
Their stomachs must be tore up.
Well,
You
I
can't
wanna
drink
tell
that
you
much soda.
I want to tell you this. That Layla admitted that she drinks 44 ounces of soda 6 days a week. So that's 264 ounces a week, which equals 2 gallons of soda a week. Crazy.
It's a lot of soda.
It's
It's a lot of soda,
a lot of soda.
Yeah. That's going to catch up with them.
for sure.
Most
That's
definitely.
going to catch up with them.
They got to have some like dentist bills going on over there because they'll rot your teeth.
No, it's diet. They only drink diet soda, which is, by the way, even worse.
Even worse.
Exactly.
These
That's what I'm
people that,
saying. Their stomachs are, at least coffee's not tearing up the inside. I mean, if you have IBS or something like that, but the sugar and the crap in soda tears up your stomach. I never drink soda. I mean, ginger ale when I have a stomach ache, but that's it.
So then we see Demi goes to Jessi's salon and they're talking about the baby blessing because Jenn is having a baby blessing because she just had a baby. And then I guess this is where they let it known that some of them were not invited they were uninvited to the baby blessing. So after the party at Zach's house and Jessi was drinking the alcohol and Taylor, this is where they differentiated between sinners and saints. So Mayci, Jenn, Whitney, and Mikayla were all invited to the baby blessing. The other 4 were not invited to the baby blessing because they were not really practicing Mormons and were not as religious as the other ones.
Yeah.
So when Demi goes to Jessi's salon and she's telling her about, yes, she heard from Mayci that they, might not be invited to the baby blessing. So they decide to FaceTime Jenn while she's getting her hair done. And Jenn is like, well, listen, Zach said he made the decision. He wasn't, that close with the husbands. And, this is a sacred event and they don't want that many people. And she's just trying to kind of backstep it. And listen, I do feel bad for her because I don't think it was her decision. I do think that her husband, Zach, had a big part in the decision, especially after what had happened at his family's home. And the baby blessing was at his family's home again. So,
well, that's understandable then. If they felt like it was disrespectful the first time, why would they invite them back?
Right.
I get it. I mean, I like Jess, but I get it.
And so then Demi and Jessi are talking about it, how they feel like they're being judged because they're not good Mormons.
Well, she said she's not a practicing Mormon. So why would you feel a certain way about somebody judging, why would you feel a certain way if somebody doesn't think you're being a good Mormon if you're not a practicing Mormon? It shouldn't matter to you. You're not practicing.
Well, I think their argument is they were all invited. They were all invited. And then they really weren't uninvited. They really were not uninvited. It was just kind of made it through the grapevine.
Oh.
It just wasn't handled properly.
Got it. No.
And they feel like they're being judged. And I don't blame them. I mean, I would feel a way about that as well. So then Demi is having a Galentine's party for the girls. And her husband, Brett, is helping her get everything ready. And Brett is the one who's a lot older, who was married to Angie Harrington.
Yes, and he was on The Bachelor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
He's very good looking.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So Whitney, Mikayla, and Mayci are all getting ready together, and they're talking about something that Demi had said had happened with her husband, and it involves Fruity Pebbles. They don't tell us exactly what it was, but Whitney then decides that she's going to get this box, and she's going to fill it up with Fruity Pebbles, and she's going to bring it to Demi as a gift. And really what she's doing is she's throwing shade, and she's going to go bring it to the Galentine's Day party and make Demi feel a way about something that she shared with them about her husband that she didn't really want everyone to know about, let alone on national TV.
Were the husbands going to be there too?
No.
No, it was just a girls thing, but still.
Exactly. And it was at her house. I mean, her husband was there when they got there.
Yeah, I don't know where he went, but yeah. But anyway, I wanted to tell you that it was really funny because I watched the episodes the next day on Peacock, right? So, no, on Hulu. I watched it on Hulu. But anyway, there's they put in a
That's where we all watch it. That's where it's at.
They put in a Fruity Pebbles commercial.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I was laughing hysterically.
In Hulu, what are they, Bravo? Being shady?
Yeah, being shady.
Listen, they're talking about, yeah.
Was it like a sexual thing with the Fruit Loops? It had to
Fruity
be.
Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles.
She alluded to them being in her vagina.
I feel like that's a little dangerous.
Yeah,
as you
I
tell.
feel like you're playing with fire there, kid. You're looking at some kind of
coloring
infection
going
or
on.
something. Yeah. We don't.
Yeah.
That's not a smart move, Demi.
And
Whatever.
you know what else I thought was interesting?
No, it was listen, it was Whitney. Demi confided in them. I just think it was so shady what Whitney
So
did.
she didn't say it on camera. She told them.
No, this had happened prior to them even filming. It was something that she had shared. And she didn't share it with all of them. She'd only shared it with like one or two of them.
Yeah.
So when she gets to the party and they're all sitting there and they're like all excited and Whitney's like, oh, I have this present for you, Demi. And she's like, oh, you didn't have to get me a present. And then she opens up this box and it's filled with Fruity Pebbles. And she's just like, she gets up, she walks out of the room with the box. Like she was pissed. And I don't blame her.
I don't blame her at all.
And then Whitney, what she does in Whitney fashion, Whitney gets all indignant. Like, why is she mad at me? Like, what did I do? Well, you know damn well what you did.
Well,
you tried to embarrass her. And
I saw on a podcast and that Whitney said that the reason why she behaved
you mean
like
you heard
that,
on a podcast?
I heard on, but yeah, you know what I mean, is that she said that she spoke to her about it before she did it and she didn't have a problem with it. And then all of a sudden she did it and then it was a problem.
Do you
I don't
really
know. I'm
believe
just
that,
counting.
though?
I do not believe it. I do not believe it.
You know,
I
what's
do not
great
believe it because that's what happens.
is
Go
that
ahead.
Mayci was saying that the Fruity Pebbles smells like, she said, oh, it smells like the weed I used to smoke. I don't know what kind of, I'd like to know what kind of weed she smoked that it was smelled like Fruity Pebbles because
No
I've
shit.
never personally come across this. So I was very interested. Then I was like, okay.
Interesting.
Yes,
That
very
is
Maybe she
interesting.
meant a cart.
Maybe.
Because, well, yeah, but the flavored vapes are nicotine. They're not weed.
Maybe in Utah they are.
Maybe in Utah they are.
She
Maybe they got
specifically
those
said
sweet
weed.
carts in Utah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe it was a cart. That's interesting.
I don't know. But this is Whitney's MO this whole season is that she does something to throw shade and then she gets called out for it or they get mad at her and then she becomes the victim.
Yeah,
Like she is all of a sudden the victim.
right.
So then they all go bowling and it's Demi, I'm sorry, I can't get, it's
No, either
Demi,
way.
it's
I've
Demi,
heard Demi be pronounced different ways, or
yeah,
so either one.
It's Demi, Layla, Jessi, and Taylor. They all go bowling and they're calling themselves the sinners because the rest of the girls are at the baby blessing. And once they got
Oh.
uninvited to the baby blessing, they went bowling and they're the sinners and the other girls are the saints.
Got it.
And then we find out that Mayci is having a girls' weekend for her birthday. And it seems like there's going to be this big split between the sinners and the saints. And then we go to episode number 4, which is the birthday weekend. And that's called the Book of Truth. And there is a very clear divide between the two groups, the sinners and the saints. And they're hoping, I don't know why they think that this girls' weekend is going to help,
Patch
bring them
things up.
together. But they're in a penthouse suite and we see that Demi says her and Brett are in a tiff about the Fruity Pebbles incident. So he got wind of it, and of course he was pissed.
Sure.
Because he didn't know that she had told them about it. So
Yeah, I mean, my husband doesn't want me sharing things about our private life with other people.
right. Especially on national TV.
Right. Which she didn't do, but
Right.
Whitney did it.
Whitney
Yeah.
did. Exactly. So then Mikayla says Whitney has been her friend for a while and that she is not self-aware. And that is really what it is. Whitney is not self-aware. She just thinks about how she can put herself on top to be the number one girl in the group.
Yep.
At anyone's expense.
Yeah. She doesn't seem loyal to anyone but herself.
No, she doesn't.
Now, did you notice?
But she did get
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did you notice in the very beginning of the episode, they're getting into Layla's car? Did you notice Layla's car?
I did not.
Nobody noticed it? It looks like a very expensive car. Like the doors open from the side like a DeLorean.
Oh.
You have to look at it. I was like, oh, damn, girl, you're young. Where are you getting this money for this car?
What's she doing?
I don't know.
She's divorced with 2 little kids, right?
Yeah.
She's doing something
But it
right.
did not look like the run-of-the-mill car. I'll tell you that.
Interesting. No, I did not
Very
see that. But Whitney does get everyone matching sweatsuits. The sweatshirts and the sweatpants.
Like
And they all-
everyone, so they're all there, all 8 of them. I didn't watch the episode, Laura.
Yes, there's
did
all
Whitney
8 of
earlier.
them there, and they all have their names on them.
We
and-
need to do that.
Yeah, we do need to do
We
that.
should do that.
All right, let's do that.
Do it.
Okay, so we're doing assault room, and we're doing matching sweatsuits.
And we're wearing our matching sweatsuits.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you see on the way there, Taylor says that she's going to, she says, I'm going to pop my anxiety meds when we get there. Demi says, I already did. So they're talking about like Xanax. So that's okay too. It's very odd.
Well, that's
maybe
okay,
you
too.
Can get a prescription for it.
No, but they also talked about on, I don't know if it was on a podcast or was actually on this series, but so Whitney got a lot of heat, and we find out, and I'm just going to jump to this for a little bit. Whitney got a lot of heat. She's the one who did that TikTok video dancing while her child was in the hospital with RSV.
Yes, I did see that.
right? So she's dancing and doing her TikTok. Her child has RSV. And she's pretty much pissed at Taylor because everyone forgave Taylor. And when I mean everyone, I don't mean the MomTokers. I mean like the world
Right.
forgave Taylor and they didn't forgive her. And then she's trying to say that like what she did was innocent, but I'm not sure which one of them. One of them says, well, we were doing ketamine, her and I, and she admitted that she did that for clout and it blew up in her face.
Yeah, that was Demi.
Okay, so it was Demi. Was that it was on the episode? Yeah. So I said I can't remember because I've watched the episodes a while ago and I've listened to a lot of podcasts and I can't remember which is which.
They were prescribing ketamine for some kind of mental illness, though, weren't they?
No, ketamine is prescribed, and that's what we know happened to Matthew Perry. But
right,
it's under
right.
It's,
I'm like, where did I hear this? Right.
No,
right,
but
right.
it needs to be closely supervised
Sure.
under
Any
a doctor's.
medication for that should be.
Yes. But what I'm saying is, like, they're doing laughing gas, they're doing ketamine, they're taking Xanax, you know.
Recreational.
Right. Under
Well,
the guise of
I guess
medical.
it's not recreational, right?
Under the guise of medical.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So they're none of them are saints.
But here's the thing, Whitney, and I saw the video of you dancing when your kid was in the hospital with RSV. Listen, as long as your child was being taken care of by the medical staff, if you want to put a video up, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I honestly didn't. I'm not a huge fan of hers, but I don't think it's a big deal. But
I didn't either.
you're not likable right now because of your prior behavior on the show. Taylor's likable, even though she's a hot mess. She got arrested for domestic violence. She's not an asshole on the show, so she's likable. You're so unlikable because of your antics on the show. Again, like it's like the Shannon Bedour's ex saying that she's making him look bad, but everything he's doing is making him look bad. That's what Whitney's trying to make it like it's everybody else, but your actions are making you look awful. Terrible. You're not a good friend. The Fruity Pebbles thing, that's a terrible thing you did to your friend.
It's horrible. And
Yeah.
that's the problem with Whitney is she's not accountable. She
Right.
doesn't
So
take...
nobody's gonna give you grace because you come off like a jerk.
Right. Right. And that's really what it comes down to. And actually I just looked at my notes. Prior to that happening, when they get there, Jenn said she forgot to bring her garment because Jenn is one of the more practicing Mormons because she doesn't drink. And they're like, you didn't bring your garments? And she's like, no, they were drying. I had just washed them and they were drying and I forgot to bring them. And then she's like, I wonder if you can DoorDash garments. I was just like, I'm sure you can. You can DoorDash everything else. Why
Sure
not
can.
DoorDash garments, right?
Yeah.
But then she said she didn't bring any underwear at all.
Right. Well, because that's what she wears. I guess that's her underwear and her garments are one and the same. And then it comes out that Demi said that Taylor was white trash. Yeah. But Whitney is the one that's spreading this. Taylor asked Demi if it's trashy to take your dress off in front of Dakota, because this is what they're talking about when they're all together for this birthday weekend.
Wait, was Taylor at the birthday weekend?
They all were. The sinners, all 8 of them, the sinners and the saints. And Demi's like, what are you talking about? I was getting my microphone on. And when we watched the beginning of the episode where she was having the party, people got there early and she was upstairs, standing upstairs, like in her bra. But I guess, I don't know, she's free with that. So they had to mic her up and she took off her dress. And I guess Taylor's like, listen, you did it in front of Dakota and he felt uncomfortable about it. And you're the one calling me white trash. And then she's like, listen, you have to look at it in the context. And Taylor's like, I'm not proud of the swinging and I'm trying to move forward from it. Like they're still trying to hold her feet to the fire about that. And
I mean, what more do they want her to say? She apologized. She's not even married anymore. So it's like she lost her husband. I mean, I don't know if that's why, but
right.
Her marriage ended. And, what more do they want her to do? She's forthcoming about it. She's not trying to hide anything.
No, you're absolutely right. She's not trying to hide anything. And I think, is this when they decide they're going to play like the truth or dare and they start asking questions?
Yeah, the truth box.
And Whitney, yeah. Go ahead.
About that truth box. it was this thing where she had this box and you could write down questions and then they would pick it and then you wouldn't know who wrote it. Except for,
Right.
He gives out colored cards. So you know exactly which ones Whitney did because she had the red cards. Because they gave her 2 red cards.
Somebody
to fill
said
out.
this on a social media.
Yeah.
Somebody else said this on I didn't watch the episode, but somebody said this on a social media post. You knew you knew Whitney's questions.
Yeah, because the color of the cards.
So what were they?
I don't remember now.
So Whitney pulls out a question and it's she's asked, who is your least favorite in the group now? And she says it's Demi now.
It wasn't Taylor?
No, it was Demi.
Because of the Fruity Pebbles thing?
Yes, because of the Fruity Pebbles thing. Again, she's the one who did it to Demi,
Right.
but she's saying, and this is what she does, like
Right.
she makes
Be
it
the
about her
victim.
when she's the one who stirred the pot to begin with. And how dare you get mad at me for what I did?
Right.
It's like, what?
Right.
Yeah, she's always got to make herself the victim.
So then Demi sits down. She does. She does. And that's why she's not likable. She's not
Right.
accountable and she's always the victim.
Right.
And then Demi sits down with Taylor and she says that, this was an isolated moment and it wasn't okay. They were supposed to be rooming together. And Taylor says, listen, I get it if you need to be alone. And Demi says, listen, I'd like to move to the bunk room. Because then Taylor and her are kind of like arguing. Taylor and Whitney go upstairs and they have a private conversation. And Taylor asks Whitney, why didn't you tell me you weren't coming to my baby shower? And Whitney said, well, she didn't think that they were that close. Whitney doesn't think her and Taylor are that close that she needs to let her know she's not going to her baby shower.
Like, I just, by the way, Whitney, etiquette is if you're invited somewhere and you're not going, no matter how close you are with the person, you respond, you RSVP. You just let them know you're not coming. It's not even good it's just normal behavior.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't have to be
100%.
married to the person to let them know you're not coming to an event.
Right. And then Whitney again brings it back about her. She's like, I feel like you never asked me how things were with her and Connor. Like,
Because
okay.
we're all just waiting for you to tell us that he's gay.
Yeah. Well, you're really hanging on to that one.
She's gone.
So yeah, this is actually where it was. So then that's when Demi says that Whitney told her about after she did the ketamine that, she did it for clout and for followers. It wasn't that, she just was happy. And now Demi, Taylor, and Whitney are talking, and Whitney doesn't know why Demi is here. And I get that because it really was, I don't know why Demi showed up in that conversation either. Like it was Taylor and Whitney. Those are the two that needed to have the conversation. But
So-
for whatever reason.
They went upstairs into the loft to have a conversation.
Right.
And then all of a sudden,
yes.
Demi's getting like pissed. So she marches up there and like intercedes in their conversation. But when Demi comes back downstairs, she says something I think is very intelligent. And she says that that Whitney's issues with Taylor are really Whitney's issues with herself. And I think that that's true. That, she feels like she's comparing herself to Taylor and, trying to live up to the hype of, that Taylor's getting. Like Wendy said before, why is Taylor getting all the attention and the public forgiving her and, not Whitney?
Right. Right. And that's what she also does. Like the reason she does go up there is she's trying to call out Whitney on everything that she's been saying behind Taylor's back. And then Whitney says she doesn't want to be friends with Taylor or Demi. Whitney gets up and walks away. Typical Whitney.
Like, it's just so funny how these people are like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore.
Yeah.
How old
Like,
are you?
Like nanny ha ha. And the best was not only does Whitney get up and leave, she gets up and goes and sits on the floor in the walk-in closet.
In the closet. Crying.
Stop.
Yes. Yeah.
And
it was
another
bad.
thing,
It was bad.
Bad for you because
another thing that Demi said is Whitney is the victim of her own chaos, which I think is very true too.
her own what?
Chaos.
We didn't hear.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That,
So,
yes.
yeah. Whitney is the victim of her own chaos.
Yeah,
She likes
for sure. For sure.
to create chaos, and then she likes to say that she's the victim.
That's what she does. That's exactly what she does.
Yeah.
And I was surprised when Mayci said Whitney is her best friend.
Yeah, because I thought she was super close with Taylor.
I did too. I did too. But she says Whitney is her best friend.
I watched a clip of a podcast that Whitney just did recently. And in it, she said before the show, she was really close to Mayci and Mikayla. And now after filming, she's really close with Mayci and Taylor.
Wait, who said that?
Whitney. Whitney said before
She
the
said
show.
she's close with Taylor?
Before the show, she was close with Mayci and Mikayla. And now after filming, she's closest with Mayci and Taylor.
It's interesting.
That is interesting because I thought they didn't get along.
I don't know. But now, you know,
I guess we'll see how it winds up, right?
yeah. Whitney was a competitive dancer, and she's very
Yeah, I saw
interested-
that.
She's very interested in acting. So she wants to be an actor.
I think she's acting all the time.
I think
Yes,
she's
she
acting all the
absolutely is
time.
acting all the time.
She's not a very good actress, so I don't
No.
see that really working out for her.
No,
But I
me
think
neither.
she's trying to act every episode, every time they're
Mhm.
filming.
Mhm.
She's putting on an act.
I will say I'm not a fan of Whitney's.
Mm-mm.
I'm not. I guess it didn't happen yet. So next time we'll recap a couple more episodes because I did watch a few more episodes and I'm not
What,
sure. There's 8 total. We just did up to 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So-
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I heard it on a podcast or I saw it in an episode. But I did learn a little bit about Jessi. I'll just give you this little information I learned about Jessi real quick. The one who has, the hair extensions in the hair salon. Actually, it was on a podcast. She employs 50 people. All of her family works for her.
I heard
Like
that too.
she is a hard worker and she is busting her butt, not just doing these mom talks. Like she's a successful businesswoman.
And she lost clients after the show came out, right?
She did initially, but then they came back.
Yeah.
Now people are coming to book from all over because now they're coming there and they want to see her and want to see what's going on. So
Good,
I'm
glad
happy
to
for
hear
her.
that.
I am too. Did you have
So-
something else to say, Laura?
Yeah. So Mayci was once a pro tennis player. Layla was once a nanny
Mm-hmm.
and also a server at Texas Roadhouse. Jessi was a YouTuber, and she's the one who has, like Wendy was just talking about, with her hair stuff. Whitney was a hairdresser. Demi was an influencer. Mikayla was a tour guide in Hawaii. Jenn was an influencer and a personal assistant. So just a little heads up on what they did before
What about Taylor?
the MomTok really took over. I didn't see anything about her, so I'm not sure. But
It's interesting.
that's just what I saw online.
Nice.
All right. So we are going to, like I said, we're going to recap the last 4 episodes, but Kelly and Lori are not really into the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So if you could give us your input and let us know, do you want us to do
Season 2.
season 2?
Because they did get renewed for one, right?
They
never
yes,
see them.
we just heard they are getting a season 2. So if you want us to recap season 2, let us know.
Take one for the team. And
If you don't even give a crap about season 1, let us know, and we won't do the last 4 episodes either. Just let
There
us
you
know. Give us
go.
some
Yeah.
feedback.
Exactly.
We're doing this for you guys. We're not just doing it for us. We're doing
That's
it for
right.
you. So let us know what you think. If you want us to do it, leave us a comment, send us a DM, and we'll do it. If you don't, say, listen, I'm not interested, and we won't do it. It's that simple.
We're going to talk about Matthew Perry. We're going to talk about the Menendez brothers. And then Bravo's got us chock full of housewives. All right. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, everyone.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.